Arizona head coach Sean Miller offered DeAndre Ayton $100,000 to play at Arizona. President Mark Emmert said the NCAA is, quote, serious about making systemic changes. Yesterday, LeBron James weighed in, and he had some strong words for the NCAA. Take a listen.
I'm not a fan of the NCAA. I love watching March Madness. I think that's incredible. I'm not a fan of how the kids don't benefit from none of this. So it's kind of a fine line because I actually got a couple boys that could be headed in that direction. So there's going to be some decisions that we as a family have to make. But I know as the NBA, we have to figure out a way that we can shore up our farm league. And if kids, feel like they don't want to be a part of that NCAA program thing, then we have something here for them to be able to jump back on and not have to worry about going overseas all the time, I guess. So we have to figure that out. But kids getting paid is not, that's not new. It's nothing new under the sun. You guys seen Blue Chips? It's a real movie. It's a real movie, seriously, it's a real movie. NCAA is corrupt. We know that. I'm sorry. It's going to make headlines, but it's corrupt.
Wow. LeBron, not holding back. What was your reaction to his comments?
Well, first of all, I'm glad LeBron is entering a similar phase of his career that we saw Kobe in the latter half of his career, which is, I'm going to tell you exactly what I think, and I don't really care. Like, I'm not going to parse my words. He's got the stature. He's got the confidence in his own voice to say what he thinks. I echo what LeBron says. I think he's spot on with a lot of it. I do think the NBA needs to figure out, should we have a better compensated and more well-run farm league? Should we look at things to where guys have the option other than going overseas after high school if they want to make money playing professional basketball? The one-and-done rule is patently un-American and unfair, even if it saves guys from themselves. The football rule, where you have to play 3 years before you're eligible for the NFL, even though for the vast majority of guys, your bodies aren't ready. You need to.
That's the difference with football with me.
But it's still.
I think every blue moon, there might be the high school kid who can handle it physically. But guys would get maimed.
But more than every the blue moon, there's guys that certainly could come out after their sophomore year. Okay. And you're not allowed to.
Like that.
And we, of course, as is often the case with structural things in this country, there's a racial component. So there ain't no rule about tennis, no rule about hockey. No rule about baseball. No rule about golf. Like, it's the sports that the poor black kids predominantly play that were like, no, a couple years free labor, please, before you can go make your money. Like, there is that component to it. And when people say, well, they're not, room, board, tuition is a great deal. For some people, it's a great deal. For some people, it's way under what the free market would pay them, as DeAndre Ayton shows, as the entire NCAA investigation or FBI investigation shows. We are putting an artificial cap on these guys' market values. And I want to make one other point about this. Like, I actually think the scholarship model that we have benefits more kids than it hurts. I think it's great that the money raised, I think there are more kids that benefit from the money raised by the football and basketball players on the golf team and the women's sports and
academic department.
Right. I think there are more winners than losers in this. But that is not the structure we have set in place in this country for anyone else. There would be more winners and losers on this television show if they just said, hey, we're going to take all the collective salaries of all the producers, all the camera people, all the on-air talent, and just say you all get the same. There'd only really be 3 people really damaged by that. But that's not the structure we use. We don't do it where we say, well, it's more fair for more people. And so why there is one place in this country where we encourage and endorse more of a socialistic system, which is everyone gets the same, no matter talent level, it's an absurdity. And the fact that what we are doing is the star football and basketball players are losing out on money and potential ways to pull their families out of poverty. Not necessarily give their families lifetime wealth, but how about moving from the projects to a decent apartment while I'm living the great life at college? We are depriving them of that opportunity because of an archaic model that helps the administrators get rich, that helps the coaches get rich. It's just wildly unfair.
No, I agree, and it needs to be changed. The problem is they're counting football, big-time college football and basketball as amateur sports. They are almost every bit as professional as the NFL and the NBA. We cover them and talk about them as media like they're professionals. The coaches, the administrators, everybody's paid. TV deals are like they're professional. Everybody's getting paid. That money that these kids generate for the schools builds up academic departments. It's the reason other sports outside of the revenue generating ones, which are basically football and basketball, have the things they do in the teams and programs that they have. I think they need to go to a free market system. Everybody's wondering even if you agree athletes should be paid, how do you pay them? And I admit it's a tough situation to determine how to pay them. I say go to a free market system. And if Marvin Bagley, if Nike or a booster from Duke or whoever wants to pay him $2 million to go to Duke, then let him go to Duke and get that $2 million. And you wonder, well, what with the teammates? It's not fair. If you and I went to the same school in college and a radio station loved you and said, while you're in school, we want you to work for us and we're going to pay you $400,000 or whatever, it wouldn't ruin our relationship. He'd have it. I wouldn't. We'd still be students together. They should have that. It sounds crazy because we're so used to the system that we've had for decades. But when you really think about it, it makes sense.
So for the first time, we not only have this public pressure, we're having the conversation in a serious way. Like there's been an FBI investigation, coaches are going to lose jobs, like people are going to be affected by this. But is there enough public pressure that this is the time where they're actually going to do something about it?
I don't think there will be any enormous change. I think maybe the NCAA might open the door to letting these guys make some endorsement money, letting these guys sign, whether it's small time. You go to Texas A&M and the local College Station car dealership wants to put your face on a billboard and give you 10 grand. Maybe from that level to Nike saying, hey man, we want to release a signature shoe for you while you're in school, Zion, because you're an internet sensation. Like, I think maybe opening the door to those types of things. But actual payment of the players through the institutions, that's not going to happen, but I don't think so. I think it's too institutional.
It doesn't even have to happen through the institution. No. I mean, boosters could do it if they want it on behalf of the schools.
Or who? If it's not the
shoe companies. It could be shoe companies that are in bed with different schools. And people say, well, then the richest schools with the richest boosters would always get the top kids. Like you said, Western Kentucky can't get the kids that Duke can get.
And the only way Western Kentucky could would be if Western Kentucky's got a few rich boosters, says, hey, we are going to give you something for it. And I want to just debunk one, I would say, myth about this. Because I get tweets all the time from people saying, oh, my God, of course it's a great deal. I still have student loans to pay off. These guys don't have loans to pay off. I say this with all due respect. Get great at something. Scholarships are available to everyone.
That's America.
Their scholarships are available to everyone. There are academic scholarships, there are athletic scholarships, there's music scholarships, there's dance scholarships. One of the reasons, and I say this with humility, I did not have student loans. I was an elite high school student, was not an elite high school athlete. And guess what? I got scholarships. I got scholarship offers from multiple schools. There were things. Everyone is eligible.
It's hard. It's hard to tell someone just go get good at something, but I understand what you're saying.
But that's the system we have for everyone.
For everything. Here's another part of the discussion, because LeBron mentioned the G League, and I agree. Like, people said, well, when the kids could come straight out of high school, and they need to do, if the NBA is serious, and all these players, Kevin Durant, Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, they've all spoken out against the NCAA. If the NBA is serious, number one, you will let players come straight out of high school. And the problem used to be, well, what about the kids that don't make it? They think they're better than they are. Let them go to the G League. You couldn't do that back in the day. Let them go to the G League, and if they don't make it in the NBA, they can play there and make some money. But here's the thing, Nick. Are we as a society, the G League, not for the foreseeable future, even if the NBA makes it a legitimate farm system, it will not generate the excitement
Without
or the
a doubt.
pageantry that the NCAA does in football or
Without a doubt.
basketball. That's become a part of American culture. Are we ready to have the best kids say, I'm not going to play in the NCAA? Now, it's fair that they get to do what they want, but it would culturally that we would lose a lot.
Yeah.
Think of baseball, collegiate baseball.
It doesn't matter.
We don't care about it.
Of course, listen,
and that could become basketball and football.
The system I want would be bad for college sports. It would be bad for sports fans. It would be bad for the average college athlete. But it would be fair. It is we have to at some point be fair.
It would be fair for the small percentage.
And
that's America.
It would be
and
fair
if we
for
would
everybody.
like, if we would like, it would be theoretically fair, but it would only benefit a small percentage. If we would like to systematically change, I have some strong political thoughts on this. I won't reveal on the show. But if we want to have a more equal society and change the rules, if we want to put caps on CEO pay and athlete pay to raise up the bottom, I will have that discussion. But until that discussion is had, and until we agree that's the system we want, then what you're doing, which is taking wealth generated overwhelmingly by poor black kids and sprinkling it amongst overwhelmingly non-poor white kids and saying, but it's good enough. You're getting an education, kind of. It's offensive. So even if it would blow up the system, if we want to actually be fair to the system we claim to have in America, that's what you would do.
Question.
Let's keep in mind, we're still probably years away from this, something substantial being implemented.
Some people have said, Jalen Rose said that the players should boycott the NCAA tournament.
Was it Jay Williams or Jalen Rose?
Jalen Rose.
Jalen Rose said it.
We got to take a break. Oh, you will never believe who's next joining us.
Oh,
we'll
Coach
keep it as a
Mangini.
tease. Okay, he just told you. Next up, first things first.
I saw him.
He's over there smiling.